Between these two products, which one do you think is performing better? You may think they are the same product, so the results will be the same, but the reality is one of these is making 10 times more sales than the other, simply just by how it's presented. And don't worry, I'll tell you which one it is later on in this video. The reason why it's important to understand is you can have the best product in the world, but if you're not presenting it in the best way possible, you're not going to get any traffic, resulting in no sales. So in this video, we're going to have some fun and I'll show you some real world examples, some good ones, some bad ones, so you have an understanding on how you can create your product thumbnails. In result, you'll have more traffic and views to your listings, which will lead to more sales and success for your Etsy shop. So let's get into it. Alright, so how this video will work is I'll show you a series of different product images. One is a bestseller and the other is not getting any results. And we'll start with something very easy and progressively get harder and harder. So this is level 1. In this niche, we're doing custom candles. And here are the two different images. Which one do you think is the bestseller? So I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about it. Feel free to take a pause. Alright, so drum roll please. So here it is. The one on the right is the one that's best selling and the one on the left is not. And the reason behind this is when you're creating a mockup, so you don't want to use the most generic one. Ideally, you don't want to use a white background image. This really looks like an Amazon type of listing. And on Etsy is a different way on how you want to present it. Ideally, you want to put it in a lifestyle setting, something that seems more organic, more natural, and it tends to do better. I've been selling on Etsy for many years now. And when I split test different products, the ones in a natural setting always performs better. All right, let's take a look at the second one in level 2 here. We're in the funeral signs category. Here are two mockups. This is a bit harder now. And as you can see, they are both in a natural lighting. Okay, so it's very similar between these two, but one is going to be a clear winner and one is not. I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about this. Drum roll, please. There it is. The one on the left is the bestseller, the one on the right is not. And the reason is they're using less white space. You can tell how zoomed in this product is and how this is really far away and they're not really capitalizing on this real estate, right? There's a lot of white space. Whereas this one, if you imagine you're looking at it from a mobile phone view, how small it's going to be. And you want to make sure that your product is front and centered. People can still see it, see the design, see the layout, maybe the text on it, right? Make sure that's very visible. So the less white space you have, the better it is to showcase your product better. And also another bonus element that's in the bestseller is this little icon here that says edit online. Little things like that can really help get more clicks and more views to your listings, showing the different features and benefits of it. And this doesn't always apply to all categories, but if it applies to yours, make sure to add some of these icons on there. All right, moving on to level 3. In this category, we're doing mood trackers. Just by looking at these, they look quite similar. They have a header, they have contrasting color palette tones, and they're showing the products. So here you can think about it, which one you think is doing better, which one is not. We'll give you a couple of seconds. Drum roll, please. There it is. The one on the right is outperforming the one on the left. And the reason is because the one on the right is showing what products are there, not just telling. The one on the left tells you there's 10 pages, right? But the buyer has to imagine what those 10 pages look like. Whereas on the right, they're showing you. They're not just telling you, but they're really showing you all the different pages that are involved. So if you're in a category where you offer multiple different products, you want to make sure you have all of them showcasing on the main image. And again, this whole video, we're only focusing on the main thumbnail or the main mock-up image. When someone is searching on Etsy, they're seeing that first image. Okay, so that's all we're talking about in this video because it is the most important part. If no one is clicking on your image, no one is going to discover your product, which will lead to no sales for your shop. So it's super important to create the best thumbnail image for each of your product listings. Even in my program with my students, I emphasize so much on this area. Obviously the product needs to be great, but the way you're presenting it, the mock-ups, the thumbnail image is equally as important as the product itself. So we have modules based on this because I believe is what will make or break your shop. But that's a whole nother conversation. This one we're just gonna critique so you can learn what is best and how to apply some of these tips and tricks to your product images. All right, next one, level 4. This is starting to get a little bit harder now. In this category, we are doing the branding kits. So as you can tell here, they're quite similar. They're both showing a lot of the products in it, a lot of the different pages, and a lot of color contrast, and they each present a specific color palette within the listing, which is amazing. But there's some little differences, and maybe you can figure it out. I'll give you a couple seconds. Drum roll, please. There it is. The one on the left is the best seller. And the reason is they have a header. A header is really important depending on the category you're in, really tells people what you're selling. Because a lot of times now when you see on Etsy, everyone uses different computer screens as mockups, iPads, different printable sheets, and it can all kind of look the same. So you need a header to really explain what you're trying to sell. If you look at the image on the right hand side, you can't really tell what they sell unless you are reading the title itself, right? So that's why it's important to put a header, what the product is, directly on your mockup image. Something else I want to talk about is the perceived value. On the left, it actually shows a lot more products, right? Different pages, different bundles are just coming off every which way, which really shows like, damn, this package is jam-packed. Whereas on the right, I'm sure they're including a lot more in there, but they're not showcasing as much on that main image. So one tactic is perceived value, showing as much as you can up front so the buyers know how much is going to be included before they click into it. All right, here is the last one, the final one. This is the same ones that we showed you at the beginning of the video, and this category is in the wedding signs niche. As you can tell from both of these, they're very similar. They both have a header, they both showcase a similar amount of iPad screens, and the products are basically the same product, but one is outperforming the other one by 10 times, which is insane to think about just by these small elements. So let me know if you can tell which one it is. Drum roll, please. There it is. The one on the right is the best seller. And the reason behind this is something called visual hierarchy, which means when someone's looking at an image, a visual, where are their eyes drawn to first, and how do they navigate through the design with their eyes? And usually the first thing they'll see is the main header, the main text, to have some context of what the product is. And as you can see, the one on the left-hand side says wedding planning bundle, and the one on the right says 160 pages wedding planner. Okay, even though on the left one, they show 160 pages down here, but it's very small text. A lot of people can actually miss this. Whereas over here, they're showcasing the 160 pages at the very top. And this is what I want to highlight for these two comparisons. What is the main unique selling proposition for your listings? What is some features that you really want to make sure you showcase? What are some things that are better than the competitors, right? Whatever that is, you want to make sure it's highlighted in your thumbnail, because that's what's going to give you that special edge, that uniqueness, and make sure people understand that and not just have it very tiny at the bottom here. You want to showcase it front and center. And that is ultimately the main difference between these two. And just as simple things like that, by arranging the different text sizes, depending on what you're trying to showcase, that will make all the difference in the world. So think about your listings, what are some things you can modify and do differently? And that can ultimately make or break the success of your shop. Okay, so now a couple final tips I want to talk about. Number one, consistency. Now we understand how to craft the best main thumbnail image. Now you want to keep that consistency throughout the rest of the 10 images using the same color palette, the same typefaces, all the layouts are the same, so you have a very cohesive branding. And even across all of your other listings within your shop, keeping the main thumbnail consistent will go a long way. It will build trust with the buyers, you'll gain more authority, and ultimately you'll have a higher chance of succeeding. Number two is stay updated. You want to make sure you stay updated with your competitors, with the trends on what makes the best mock-up images. Like we talked about earlier, analyzing the best sellers, you want to really break it down and analyze what makes them succeed. Is it the headers that they included? Is it the perceived value that they have? Is it eliminating white space, right? Understanding what it takes to become a bestseller in your category will make a huge difference. I have another video that showcases other mock-up tips for branding here, and I'll attach that somewhere on the screen. And tip number three is ask for feedback. Sometimes you can work really hard on your designs, but you can be a bit biased after spending all this time on it. You may think it's the best, but in reality, it might not be. You have to be realistic, be unbiased, and really compare with the competitors. So sometimes ask family and friends. What I would do is I would take a screenshot of the Etsy search page within all my competitors, put them all in there, and then I will Photoshop my new mockup image on there in one of the listings. Then I will ask my family and friends, but hey, between these 8 to 12 different images, which one would you click on? Which one do you think is the best one? Which one stands out the most? And I will do this without telling them which one mine is. The first round, they may not always pick mine, they might pick another competitor, but then I'll go back into the drawing board and I'll reiterate from my design. I will continue this process until I present it to them and then they say, cool, this is the one I want to pick and that's ultimately yours. That is when I know I have a sure winner, and that is when I know I will get the most clicks, the most traffic, because I have a good thumbnail image. So that process can take some time, but it is well worth it if you ultimately want to build a successful shop, and that is what it takes. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to learn more about how to sell on Etsy successfully. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Thank you for watching. I hope you gained some new insights to apply to your Etsy shop. If you're eager to truly turn your creativity into profit, then check out my Digital Freedom Academy. It's a complete step-by-step, start-to-finish guide to master Etsy with digital products using my unique 4-phase Etsy Freedom framework. You'll discover how to research, how to create your products, the branding, and also how to launch successfully. We'll help you take out all of the guesswork. Myself and other coaches in the community will be there every step of the way to make sure that you succeed on Etsy, because I know how frustrating it can be trying to navigate this online venture alone. And trust me, this is going to save you time and energy. So if you want more details on how to join the community, just click the link below in the descriptions and let's get your Etsy seller journey started in the right path together. I'll see you there.